This is a student presentation for 5 Principles of Government for Government and Economics, and it is by me, Alethea. Yeah, let's get right into it. Okay. First of all, government as a whole. Government always needs to be an entity that will preserve the life, liberty, and property of the people who are under it. All governments should be to protect the people and preserve them, whether they are republics, monarchies, oligarchies, or any other type of government. Government is for the people. This is the first principle of government that should be remembered. Next, it needs to have more than the state of nature. John Locke talks about the state of nature, which is a state that all people naturally find themselves in when they are not organized into any form of rule. In the state of nature, things are governed by the law of nature, and everyone is allowed to enforce that law. This sounds pretty great, and because it is pretty great, in order to merit moving into society, that society needs to have more than what the state of nature has. Namely, the things that government needs to have that the state of nature doesn't have are a right to an impartial judge, an established and settled law, and a power to enforce judgments that have been decided on. This is the second principle of government that should be noted. Third, you need a way to help keep the judges impartial. The impartial judge comes from the slide before, the things that you need to have that aren't in the state of nature. And this is difficult, but it is also very, very important. As said by John Locke, a known and impartial judge is one of the things that distinguishes government from having no government at all, or being in the state of nature, as I said before. In America, and in the American Constitution, the founders attempted to do this by putting judges in for life on good behavior, so they don't have to worry about being re-elected, which would mean their decisions would be influenced more by the people. I'm not saying that this was a perfect way to do this, but it does help keep the judges of the Supreme Court impartial. Having an impartial judge and a way to keep them impartial is the third principle of government to be observed. Next, checks of power. As James Madison said in his "If Men Were Angels" quote from Federalist 51, you need to make sure that the government can control the people and keep things from getting way out of hand and chaotic and going into total uncontrolled anarchy, but you must also ensure that the government can control itself and not let itself get way out of hand and go into the opposite of anarchy, which is complete and total tyranny. If men were angels, nobody would ever try to take too much power. But since they're not angels, we need checks on the people in power to keep them from getting too much power and bringing the people down significantly in order to have that power. To do this, specific regulations on what bodies of government can or cannot do should be imposed. The ambitions of the separate branches should oppose each other, and all of the branches of government should have equal but very separate powers. This is the fourth principle of government that is important to recognize. Finally, laws are laws. It's important to realize that no matter what, no matter who is in power, everyone should have to follow the exact same laws. And they should be punished in the exact same way if they don't follow the laws. This means that there is a law against murdering, which I really hope that there is in every country. The government should not be able to break this law without serious repercussions. For any government, there needs to be a law that gives a process to follow that can get rid of any person or group of people in government who don't follow the law. There's such a stipulation in the American Constitution, and all the branches of government watch each other and keep each other in check in regard to this, at least in America, and hopefully in other places as well. This is the fifth principle of government that must be considered, and this is also the end of the presentation. Thank you for watching.